Now we're going to talk about the drum mics as a whole here and solo each mic out and listen to the individual sounds we get from the close mics. So let's start with just soloing out the KM100 on the hi-hat and seeing what that sounds like. That's the close mic, KM100. Let's check out the snare drum now. The SM57 on the top and the SM57 on the bottom. We'll solo out the SM57 on the top first and just listen to what that sounds like by itself. And then let's listen to the SM57 on the bottom and examine that sound. Now that sound soloed out is a little bit unpleasing. It's not necessarily a snare sound in itself, but certainly an integral part to the snare drum sound as a whole. So when you mix the two together, that's when we really get our cool snare sound that we were working on earlier. So here's what the two mics together sound like. Top and bottom SM57s. Now let's go ahead and move on to the rack tom 1, soloed out, just the rack tom mic. And let's check out the floor tom mic now, soloed out, just listening to the 421 on the floor tom. Here's what that sounds like. So those are the close mics up top here. Now let's examine the kick drum mic. We have two mics on the kick drum. The internal mic is the Beta 52, which we should solo out and check out. So here's what the Beta 52 inside of the kick drum sounds like soloed out. And then we have the Yamaha sub kick on the front of the kick drum to pick up some body from the kick drum. And here's what that sounds like soloed out. The sub kick, much like the undersnare, has a very unique sound to it. Does not really sound like a bass drum by itself, but what it's doing is adding some series body to the kick drum to help kind of create our overall kick drum sound. So combined with the inside mic is what really is giving us our overall bass drum sound. So here's what those two mics sound like together. That's all of our close mics. So now let's just take a minute to listen to the overheads soloed out. So we'll turn off all the close mics, mute them all out. We'll just solo up these Neumann U67s, and I'll play a beat, and you'll get an idea of what the overheads sound like on the drum kit here. So that's just the overhead mics. Check out the room mics out here that are picking up the ambience of the entire room. Play a beat real quick, keeping those soloed out. So now we've got these muted, just the room mics we're listening to. See what that sounds like. That's the room mics. Now let's turn them all on, listen to the entire drum sound we've worked up, and hear what everything sounds like working together to create our drum sound. And this is what that sounds like.